Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akeredoluale. Tonight, President Buhari presents 8.612 trillion naira 2018 appropriation bill to the National Assembly, seeks the cooperation of lawmakers for early passage. Divergent views trail 2018 budget presentation by the President. Some federal lawmakers applaud proposal, others express caution. Police in Bayelsa State rearrest 5 of 10 detainees who escaped from the Special Anti-Robbery Squad Detention Center in Yenagoa. And more problems for President Salva Kiir as South Sudan's army commander defects to the rebels' side.
On Business News tonight, Nigeria's Senate asked federal government to scrap excess crude accounts, citing huge revenue leakages and reckless handling.
And in sports news, Namibian sprint legend Frankie Fredericks has been suspended as a member of the International Olympic Committee after being charged with money laundering.
And from Abuja, Africa's telecoms and media executives gather in Cape Town, South Africa for the 2017 AfricaCom Conference. Chairman of Channels Media Group, Mr. John Momo, challenges mainstream broadcasters to up their game.
We begin with the President's presentation of the 2018 appropriation bill to the joint session of the National Assembly. He calls the appropriation bill budget of consolidation, and it is expected to build up on the achievements of the 2017 budget of growth and economic recovery. The President is proposing an 8.61 trillion naira budgetary plan for 2018 as against the 7.44 trillion naira presented for this year. Would like to warn you that our next report contains flash photography. Our correspondent, Linda Ahigwe, has it.
President Buhari and his entourage walk into a tightly packed House of Representatives chamber. He's here to present the 2018 budget to a joint sitting of the National Assembly. This is the earliest time in years a president is bringing the national budget to Parliament, a pointer to the resolve by the Buhari administration to return to a one-year budget cycle. President Buhari takes the stand, and for nearly an hour 15 minutes, he gives a rundown of sectoral performances the last 1 year, as well as issues of security, infrastructure deficit and economic diversification.
As I had previously indicated, we aim to consolidate on our achievement in 2017. We shall meet our counterpart funding obligations. We shall complete all ongoing projects, and we shall carry forward all strategic projects that were budgeted for, but which were unable to kick-start due to liquidity challenges.
But the implementation of a 2017 budget leaves much to be desired. According to President Buhari, there is a massive revenue shortfall from government agencies, leaving revenue targets well below expectations.
A key revenue shortfall was from independent revenues. Only 155.14 billion naira was remitted by September 2017, as against the projected pro-rate sum of 605.87 billion naira. This represents a 74% shortfall, which is very disappointing.
Tagged a budget of consolidation, the 2018 budget proposes the sum of 8.612 trillion naira aggregate expenditure, with recurrent expenditure of 3.494 trillion, capital spending of 2.428 trillion naira, and debt service of 2.014 trillion naira. The budget is based on a benchmark oil price of $45 per barrel and an exchange rate of 305 naira to a dollar and GDP growth of 3.5%.
to mention a few.
The president also put forward some key capital spending allocations in the 2018 budget. Although applause greets the president's laying of the budget, the Speaker and the Senate President draw the attention of President Buhari to the many uncompleted capital projects in the country and warn against the executive abandoning the 2017 budget.
I would like to advise and caution that there is no better time in this administration than now for a vigorous drive for a good working relationship between the executive and the legislature. The early passage of the 2018 budget will depend on this good working relationship.
Questions that must be answered include whether we have effectively enforced 2017 fiscal targets and whether managers have complied with the budget as authorized by the legislature.
The 2018 budget proposal has a long journey before it is passed to law. In the past, this journey has often been fraught with tensions between the executive and the National Assembly. One of the critical issues which will likely arise is the problem of a quick passage of the 2018 budget to meet the plan by the executive and the legislature to return to a one-year budget cycle, which has proven to be an impossible target to achieve. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
And mixed reactions are already trailing the president's presentation of the 2018 budget proposal to the National Assembly. After the presentation, some federal lawmakers applauded the budget and say they believe it will address the concerns of most Nigerians. But others are of the opinion that the budget is too optimistic, considering the poor implementation of the 2017 budget. Again, would like to warn that our next report contains flash photography. Lanre Lasisi has it.
President Muhammadu Buhari laying a copy of the 2018 budget proposal before a joint session of the National Assembly. The president also addressed the lawmakers on the focus of the budget. Reacting after the presentation, some lawmakers applauded the budget.
He stood there for an hour and almost and a half, and he's absolutely physically fit. We thank God for that. Secondly, I'd like to say he was totally on point, and he has definitely shown commitment to the development of the economy and Nigeria as a whole.
It was a very good presentation. There was something in the budget for every part of this country, and there was something in the budget for every hope and every aspiration. And all in all, if passed the way it is and implemented the way it should be, I believe that the budget would make a difference in the life of Nigerians.
Others, however, are not that optimistic.
If we're supposed to spend our way out of a recession and we're only spending 10% out of a recession, then I'm a little worried about the optimism. And, you know, for me, the 2017, 10%, 2018, a higher number. My concern is, what is the premise? What is the basis for us to even have presented a budget this year that was higher than last year's budget?
I think there's quite a few opportunities that we have that were not explored today. My early thoughts are we need to be cautious. I am not optimistic personally, because I am very, very concerned that government spending is one of the surest ways to get us out of a recession. And so far, in terms of government spending, there is a lot of gaps.
Some lawmakers point out ways the budget can be properly implemented and the possibility of returning the country to a January to December budget circle.
This is a good start, and although we may not start that January to December with this 2018 budget, but if we are able to finish the budget process and we have a new budget latest by March, that will be a huge improvement.
Executive must do their best to implement, if not fully, partially, the capital content of 2017 budget, because that creates, and it is an automatic impact to the citizenry. While that is going on, it will not hinder the passage of 2018. We've seen appropriations run simultaneously in the past, and I think that can also happen.
The problem that I anticipate, as usual, is releases of these funds as at when important for these projects to continue. If we can conquer that, implementation will be easy.
The lawmakers say they will do their part by working on the document to ensure it meets the aspiration of Nigerians. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
Now let us take a further look at today's budget presentation by the President. And I'm now being joined live from our Abuja studios by a member of the House Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Olajide Olatubosu. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
Good evening.
Now, what's your own assessment, first assessment of the budget as presented by the President today?
Very good budget, nationalistic in approach, and growth-oriented. Every part of this country has something in that budget. Every social strata, the poor, the rich, every section has something to take from that budget. Very good budget.
Now, the President, as part of the presentation, hinted that he was seeking the support of the National Assembly to return the budget cycle to January to December. Now, today is November the 7th. For this to happen, this budget has to be passed by December the 31st. Is this a realistic expectation?
Well, to be frank with you, it will be pretty challenging because if you look at the appropriation process, the budget will be formally referred to the Appropriation Committee by the House. We are going to now commit it to each committee. They'll call in all the MDAs for budget defense. That may take 1.5 months or thereabout. Then the budget will come back to the Appropriation Committee, and at times we may ask the committee or chairman to come and defend their report. After that, to be submitted to the NASS leadership. And there will be meetings upon meetings, and it is finally assented to by the President. So today is November 7. That budget becoming operational by January 1st, pretty challenging, but it is possible. Never say never.
Now, the 2017 budget will still be in operation, and the National Assembly will be expecting to continue its oversight functions of that budget, even while taking a look at this 2018 estimate. That's a further complication, isn't it?
Well, what we have now is that 450 billion has been released out of the capital vote for 2017. So in terms of oversight, we don't really have much in terms of projects to inspect. The President promised that by 31st December, it will ensure that at least 50% of the 2017 capital votes will be released. So it can go simultaneously. Between now and December, I don't think there will be much to inspect in terms of capital projects.
Break, President Buhari vows to make Nigeria Africa's biggest exporter of ICT hardware. Please stay on with us.